New year, same me, why not?
All sorts of people do New Year's resolutions, but only 40% of them actually stick to them. Rush home, celebrate the new year with fireworks and alcohol, and then rush home back to their busy lives. I mean, it's probably as far from self reflection as you can possibly be.
I lost 14 stone, over half my body weight over 2 years ago. If you want something, why do you not just start doing it there and then? Concept, courage, drive. Get the two working together, doing a wee dance, and you'll become unstoppable.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Early Bird and Night Owl podcast. This is episode 2 now. First of all, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year!
We thought it would be a good time to talk about New Year's resolutions. Apparently, 60% of people decide to think about it in the new year and at least make some plans for the new year, whether they want to go to the gym or eat healthier. All sorts of people do New Year's resolutions, but only 40% of them actually stick to them, apparently, past February. So we're almost at the cutoff point where people don't bother anymore. So yeah, I wonder if it works. Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Scott? Is that something that you do?
I think that when anyone makes a resolution to become a better version of themselves, it's a great thing. Yeah, at the same time, I'm a great believer that if you've got something to work on and something to improve on, you should be doing it in the now, in the then. It should more be adapting a lifestyle change instead of defining it as, for example, if it was to be a diet. Diets could be a short term fix and they don't often work.
Yeah. How did you change that yourself, Scott?
It all starts between the years, yeah. It starts by forming discipline. It starts by realising the steps that you take, where you were maybe going wrong in life, and what you can improve upon yourself by putting in the hard work. I've got a wee saying that I say, do it every day, every way, without delay. No excuses. Yeah, if I want something, if I want to go on holiday, it's down to me, no one else, to save that money so I can afford to go on holiday. And if it's for losing weight, I lost 14 stone, over half my body weight over 2 years ago. I started that journey and I've kept that weight off 2 years because I'm aware that only I am responsible for that. In the past, I went through many diets. For many, many years, I tried different diets and none worked. And then I had the thought of, well, maybe that's the fact that I'm seeing it as a diet and it's a short term fix. So I started to adapt the mindset of a lifestyle change and seeing what was better for me. What's it actually improving to me? Sugary drinks, refined foods, processed foods, carbs. I look at them and what I would say to myself is, what's that positively adding to my life and my well-being?
Do you find that easy to stick to nowadays? Because you've kind of built up the research behind it and you understand the mechanisms of your body and you feel like you've seen results, so you keep working on it. You've built a habit around it then.
Once you understand something, that's a process already gaining traction. Then it's down to willpower, determination. Most of all, it's discipline.
Yeah, wise words.
Thank
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So do you not really do any resolutions at all? Do you have a sit down with yourself at the end of the year anyway and think, how has my year been? What am I going to do differently next year? Do you still have that? Or is it just a rolling process instead?
you. Again, not to again, not knocking change or resolutions because I'm very much a product of change and reinvention. That's like the wishing tree, yeah. Like, oh, I'm going to try and do this year, and I'm going to try and do that this year. But if you want something, why do you not just start doing it there and then? like instead of waiting the year end or waiting for something to come to you, you become the change that you want to see. When you put in the hard work, you become the outcome. Nothing's really going to come to you, and we're not really. It's not like the world owes us something, but it's down to us to put in the hard work to create what we are wanting. No matter what you want to change in your life, you we are the masters of that change. It's great to have a support network, and it's great to have friends and people to voice what you're thinking, what you're going to try and do. And confide in a friend and say, I'm thinking of doing this. Because once you get someone else's opinion on it, their knowledge can add to what you're doing. They can become your support network. But quintessentially, it's down to the individual.
I feel like a new year is a good thing for reflection. I agree that you should do it more than once a year. So if you only reflect on your life once every year, that's so much wasted time that you could have spent course correcting sooner, like you said. But yeah, if you don't take the moment to think back to what happened in your life now and what it took to come to this point, and are you unhappy with something, and really sit with yourself and think about what you like about your life and what you don't, I guess you're never gonna have the chance to course correct if you don't reflect on yourself.
Yes, truly. I feel like anything that promotes self reflection as in gratitude and awareness should always be celebrated. And maybe the first habit we should adopt, a healthy habit, is self reflection at the beginning of the year. And
Mm.
it's something that maybe at the end of the week we could all start journaling and think about how our week's going and like what could we work upon and improve the next week. There's a form of reflection. Uh, what are you grateful for this week or the past week? And maybe if somebody that you're grateful for, and if you journal it and you meet them during the week, you can have, you know what? I really appreciated that lift pack from the supermarket the other day. They're the positive habits that raise self awareness and reflection.
Mm. Yeah, so have it in smaller portions of life. Like look at your life in more manageable bites of things to reflect on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. You can get caught up in the bustle of life, right? I love that analogy that you always use of climbing the mountains, and when you climb a really big mountain in the background as well, while you're climbing it, you see all these little peaks, and you get to the peak, and then you see, oh God, there's another peak that's even higher, and you sometimes forget to look back and see where you actually, the start is actually all the way down there, and you've made it all this chunk of the way already. That doesn't mean that the next peak's not going to be hard, but it still means that you've come a pretty far way and you've done really well. I think that's reflection on not just what you can improve on, but what you've achieved as well. If you
yes.
never celebrate yourself, then you're not going to have the motivation to climb the next peak because you feel like you lose sight of everything else that you've already achieved.
We've all got to give ourselves a pat in the back for scaling the mountains. Yeah, sometimes if you're just keeping your eye on the destination, you maybe actually be lost in the progress that you've made in the journey. All the learning that you've done, all the learning that you've took in. So it is.
Yeah,
Every mountain in our life's going to teach us something else. Yet with every footstep and scaling the mountains builds upon a resilience. And it gives your legs that muscle memory. So when you get the next mountain, everything you've learnt from the first mountain is going to add to your journey.
yeah. Yeah. Apparently, the tradition of New Year's resolutions goes back thousands of years. Like it's something that humans have always done, which doesn't surprise me, I guess, because humans have always had rituals and times of reflection, and we very much go with the seasons of life. And apparently, it's an ancient Babylonian festival which is called Akitu, and it was from more than 4,000 years ago that they had this festival at the end of the year. They did it at the end of the year because of the fertility cycles of the land. So in winter, they sat down with themselves and thought, before the new year started and spring came and everything got going again, what am I grateful for? What do I want to change? Do I have any debts that I need to repay? Apparently, it was the prime time for, oh, I borrowed this machinery from my neighbor and I got so busy I didn't give it back, so maybe this is the time to do this, and it's kind of clearing out everything for the new year. So it makes sense where this idea comes from of out with the old and in with the new. You know, when we have spring cleanings and we sit down and have festivals at Easter to celebrate the renewal of life, and it seems to be a very common theme that's been there for thousands of years.
Stood the test of time as well. To have all the things to be grateful for and to see what you can improve upon in the next year. And I'd imagine back in the day that that course correction in life and the things that you could work upon are the things that you had to improve would have been more important and more beneficial to survival. So they would have taken that more seriously than today's modern age.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Everything about the new year beginning on the first day of spring makes so much sense. When you think of the crops, when you think of the birds being born, everything that's been planted, the new life that's coming into the world, the full planet changes in spring. But to have the first day of New Year in the middle of winter when the countryside's still sleeping and covered in snow, it doesn't feel right naturally, if that makes sense.
In the past, we all slowed down in winter, and we
Yeah,
took a break, and there was nothing to do outside. In autumn, you'd prepped everything for the winter, so you'd have enough food, and you'd have all of your animals would be supported as well, and you just took time to regenerate and prepare for the new year, which then, as you said, would start in spring. So yeah, it just makes complete sense to have the winter be the end of the year because that's when you slow down, and then the new year starts when you feel energetic again and you feel ready to go.
think of all the animals that hibernate.
Mm, yeah.
Imagine a bear coming out of hibernation going, "Oh no, I miss New Year." They wake up in the springtime for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
I find that when these facts and these things, when they align with nature, it seems to make more sense for what would be put down with modern day.
Mm. Yeah, we're too detached from our natural rhythms of life, I think. There's never a time when people slow down and regenerate for the new year. I mean, we have a week, maybe a week or two, that people have off, if they're lucky, during the new year or Christmas. They go home to family and spend time with them, but it's all still rushed as well. It's not always time to slow down and just take in the moment with friends and family. People just rush home, celebrate the new year with fireworks and alcohol, and then rush home back to their busy lives. I mean, it's probably as far from self-reflection as you can possibly be in terms of a ritual, really.
It's a complete opposite of self-reflection, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, it's escaping.
A, you're looking at fireworks in the sky. You're definitely not turning inwards there, are you? Ooh, pretty thing. B, you're drinking alcohol and seeking outwards, partying. Uh, no, that's a very good point, Emily. There's no much reflection going to happen in any of that. Do you think that there's a mass majority of this change for the new year comes out of? Oh, I've ate too much over Christmas, and oh, I've overdone it with the drink and the party. Need to change this. Feeling all stuffed up for everything I've ate and really hungover. Default set in there.
Resolution stress is born, like the classic one that you see nowadays where people say, "Oh, I need to diet, I need to do this, I need to do that." I think that comes from guilt, like you said. I've eaten too much over Christmas, or I've let myself go a bit. I don't like that. I want to look as fit as the person on my Instagram over there, and I I don't think feeling guilty for something builds positive habits. You need to have a motivational reason to change. If you're just making New Year's resolutions because someone else's life looks nicer than yours on the outside, that's not that's not gonna last.
And you want to change because you want something that somebody else has got. You aren't truly doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the grass is always greener on the other side syndrome. Yeah. And when you were saying about the guilt, that's when someone's doing something, it's reactionary because they feel they've done something wrong. Think of it this way, yeah? Think of it as a pond or a big lake, right? And a lake that is settled and calm, or a pond that's settled and calm, it will reflect more. It will not be distorted by ripples. You'll see more. It'll be cool. It'll be more clearer because that's calm. It's present. It's in the moment. And if that's seeing more and reflecting more, there's far more output.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That comes from turning inwards. All that, doesn't it?
Mm, mm, yeah, yeah. Being in
Hmm.
tune with yourself.
Takes a brave lot to be so though. Takes a brave individuals in the world to do so.
Mm,
And I guess going back to the mountain metaphor, that's where that resilience of life comes in. I reckon these steps and the mountains is what gives you that resilience to get to the place where you can be in that creative zone to express oneself and to be able to look inwards. There's one of the individuals at the writing group that I facilitate, and he always wanted to be a writer, right? But he never got to that place. Now he's writing poems. It's very similar to what I've experienced in life myself as a late bloomer. But this individual again, he always wanted to do so, but back then he thought, "Oh, I can't do such a thing," or he would never had anyone to take the time or listen. Now the individual is expressing himself and writing, and I just read one of his poems out last night, and it inspired a full audience in a theatre.
that's amazing.
He's became far more expressive and far more confident and far more a powerful individual in the room setting since he started doing this. Since he started expressing himself, since he started taking ownership of who he was always meant to be. Yeah, speaking with confidence, speaking with conviction, you know, you're owning these words. There's something beautiful in that. It's at the state where you see someone kind of at first they've got their head down, you meet them and they're not quite there and they mumble their words a lot, but when they start their expressiveness and they start creativity and they start reading out their work and they start reading their poems in front of people, the head goes up, the light in the eyes comes in, the smile goes, the full demeanour of the individual. It's so noticeable simply through positive expression. Expression that builds you up also builds other people up.
Definitely, it
And
does.
do you know what does it cost? Nothing.
Yeah,
Truly the best things in life are free.
I think it's something you can learn, something that you can practice, sharing something with someone or being open about something. But you still always need that little. You need to give yourself that little nudge every time to share something. I think that little poke you need to give yourself never goes away. Do you think?
It's one of the things that would be the key to longevity, I would truly believe. To circle right back, now we're talking about circles, you've got to give yourself that wee nudge to go out the door, to go to the gym. You've got to have that wee talk to yourself. Say, right, I'm going to go and do this. I am. Deep down, there's another side to it saying, no, I'm going to sit at home and watch TV. You've got to really pick yourself up and kick yourself out the door.
You do always need to be your own cheerleader as well and say, "Come on, let's go. Let's do this. You can do it."
Yes, that's back to that reinforcement of that positive self talk.
Mm.
I really love the visualization of that cheerleader analogy.
You got a little like inside your head.
SCOTT.
Yeah.
You can do it. Yeah, a million percent. I really like that one. I'm going to use that.
It's amazing to have other people that are proud of you, and it's really important motivation to have other people who support you and other people who say, "Oh, I'm proud of you." You know, it's really important to hear that from other people as well. But if you can never say to yourself, "I'm proud of myself for doing this," then all of the "I'm proud of yous" from other people are not going to mean as much. I don't think they resonate with you unless you can tell yourself that you're proud of yourself.
You're so right, Emily. You can almost automatically tell when you give someone praise if they're at a place where they do not give themselves that praise. And if they knock back your praise, like, oh, no. You're like, oh, obviously this person doesn't give themselves that self praise.
It's really hard though that point because sometimes I agree with you that you can see when someone resonates with that compliment or not. But sometimes it's also really hard to then not be cocky about it. You know, if you always say that there's a balance, if you always say, "Oh yeah, I know, thank you," people are gonna go, "What a dickhead," you know? Like people are gonna. You need to strike a balance of accepting the compliment and taking that on, but also you don't want to seem cocky either. You don't want to seem too self-assured. It's not it's not a good look either.
I believe in you can accept the compliment with gratitude and humility, being humble. If that's humility is a word, if it's not, it is now.
I don't know if it's a noun actually. Humbleness? I don't know.
Well, yeah, polite humbleness. Either way,
Humility, yeah. I think you should
humility,
make a new word, Scott.
humility is like it sounds like humility, right? When it's humble, but it's humility.
Just makes me think of a bumblebee. Anyway.
I visualised a bumblebee when I said it when I was coming out of it. It was like, oh no. The other side to that is how many, if you ever gave someone a compliment and they deny your compliment? Oh no, no. And it's like giving back a gift.
Yeah, I think that mindset comes from a place of not accepting the compliment though, because you don't think you deserve it. You don't feel like you deserve that compliment, so you'd rather just return it and not deal with it because you feel like you shouldn't have it.
Oh,
It's deflection. It's like, no, no, I don't even want to think about the fact that someone's proud of me because I don't feel proud of myself. So please, please take your proudness and go away. I think that's what that signals.
yeah. There was once upon a time many years ago, well, about six, but when I started this journey, and I was getting praised for a new talent that I had, and it almost felt alien. Yeah, and the people were saying things to me that I'd never expected. And I never gave them the gift back. It was just for me. It was me like, uh, how could they be saying that to me? And I never denied because I knew the hard work I put in to get there, and the hard work that I was doing was never for praise. It was just simply to get in a better place and improve upon my life.
Yeah, yeah. Takes practice as well. Everything in life takes practice.
Yeah, repetition.
Giving and receiving compliments also takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
What's something from 2024, something positive and something that you're going to work on in 2025 that that you feel like you're going to carry with you into this new year?
Something from 24 that I'm going to carry on is the journey that I am on. I'm going to continue to work on self improvement, and then I'm going to continue to work on being a better version of myself every day, every way, without delay. Yeah, and give back. Me, what I learned for this journey, I can't keep, so I'll be passing that on. Continue to support other people and to mentor other people, and got to travel in Europe last year, so I'll be continuing that. That's been a big insight to the journey, seeing the bigger world.
Yeah,
What about yourself, Emily?
proudest achievement. I think my proudest achievement for 2024 is just getting through it, just making the most of the difficult challenges that 2024 brought. Quite proud of myself for just continuing on with it, keep climbing those mountains. Just, I really, I really took that to heart when you mentioned that quote the first time, sometime later last year, I think it was. We were having a conversation and I remember feeling quite hopeless about everything, and it felt like I got across one hurdle and then the next roadblock appeared suddenly out of the corner, unpredicted. And I just thought, how many how many more roadblocks are there going to be this year? But there turned out to be many more. So I think I really took that quote to heart and just thought, well, the the previous mountain that I had to climb felt really awkward and very hard and very difficult, but I I got past that, so it's just on to the next one. And like as you said at the time, life is just it's always going to be like that. It's never going to be easy, and nothing's ever a given anyway. So you just got to work with what you've got and make the most of it. I think I've really worked on finding something that I learnt from it, even if it's nothing positive about the situation. Finding something that situation taught me, just to keep in perspective what everything means in life. That bad things don't just happen to you. You go through them. You don't. They don't just happen to you and then you deal with it. You move through them and move past them. So um, I feel like I've done a lot of work on my mindset and in the last few months and hoping to just carry that through. I feel a lot more at peace with my although my life has not got less chaotic than it was. The 2025 as it is right now is not shaping up to be any less chaotic or complicated, but that's okay. I think I lost my living in the moment and going with the flow mindset for a bit. I think I lost sight of that for a bit, but it's come back. It's come back stronger. So quite proud of that.
Love it. Yes. And do you feel that for the challenges and going through all that and taking it on and feeling it, it forges a stronger mindset that helps you to helps you to actually get by, helps you to cope with everything, and that acceptance.
Yeah,
Yeah, that acceptance. There's always going to be these things and hurdles in front of me. There's always going to be another mountain. There's always going to be another challenge. There's always going to be another obstacle. Yeah.
yeah. I think it goes into making the most of your life. There've been so many. Well, I can only think of the German word right now. There's a good German word called Schicksalsschlag, which means punch of destiny or like hit of destiny, like something
Ah,
destiny hit you basically. It kind of just describes the fact that nothing in life is a given and things happen. People get a sudden illness or people die when you don't expect them to as well. We're all mortal, so something bad can happen at any point. So
mm,
just making the most of the things that you do have, the things like you said, the things that you're grateful for, and if you're having a good day, just thinking, I had a good day and that's really amazing, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. But kind of just taking every day as it is, and if it was a good day or a bad day, the next day will come and you'll just deal with it then. You just kind of pocket everything and save it for later and let that carry you through life.
More profound wisdom from Emily there. Two things. A, in the name of the Greek philosophers, memento mori, we all must die. It happens to us all. Yet, and at the same time, see by if you were to worry about what this is going to happen and there's going to be another challenge and worrying about all these things that are still to happen, yeah, how much time are you actually stealing from being your own moment by worrying about all these other things instead of just getting to a place where you accept that challenges will present themselves? Yet often you find that obstacles are also opportunities when you see the learning in that. Like, how much did you learn for each mountain you climbed?
You can't always quantify what you're learning and you can't always exactly pick out what it is that you're learning in that moment. But I think you always notice it further down the line eventually, or that you can learn something from anything.
When it comes back to the reflection, circling back round, it comes back to that reflection. We actually reflect upon how much we've learnt from our travels. Because life surely is the journey, it isn't the destination. Sometimes we don't realise how much we've learnt from our challenges and obstacles that we overcame or the adversities. We don't realise how much we have learnt from that process until we reflect upon that journey and we take it all in and go, whoa, that has taught me so much. Or sometimes you don't quite understand how much you have learnt until you're faced with another challenge. You overcome it a lot easier because you're using everything you've learnt from the last one.
Yeah. Mm.
So that circled right back to the beginning there, so that did.
Yeah. It's less resolutions for a short-term goal. Setting short-term goals is great to get you to a greater goal and to break down what you want to achieve in life into smaller bits. But if you don't work on building that mindset and building the resilience to go through life every day, then those resolutions are pointless because they're not gonna manifest later down the line.
1,000,000%. Very well put, Emily. It all begins and ends between the ears. Uh, it's your mind. It's the discipline that you forge between your ears. Yeah, that's your drive. That's your navigator. That's where the winning's done. Your brain and your heart need to be aligned. Yeah, concept, courage, drive. Get they two working together. Doing a wee dance, and you'll become unstoppable.
You need to nourish that cheerleader in you to keep going with those resolutions that your brain sets for you.
I've now got the cheerleader constantly somewhere in my mind here. It's going to appear, and I have no doubt I will sit in front of a lot of people and give a speech and tell them to have their inner cheerleader, and I'll have the full room sing their name.
Maybe to end all of this, to bring it into the new year, this podcast. What's something that you're looking forward to this coming year, 2025? What's something that you're carrying into this year? Some good advice. You always have amazing inspirational quotes, Scott. What's your inspiration for 2025?
Hmm. Inspiration for 2025 quote. Can you think of anything? Hold on. And I should have thought of something. I usually think of something in front of that. My bad. Put your best foot forward and trust in the process. Believe in yourself, and your journey's going to happen.
I think the quote that I'm going to take into 2025 is that little cheerleader. that little mental image of being your own cheerleader.
Yes, you can ask that again, and that's what my answer will be. If you ask me that again, the answer will be what I'm taking into 2025 is my inner cheerleader. My inner cheerleader would be my left shoulder, cheering me on everything that I do and encouraging me in moments of doubt.
On that note of the cheerleader, shall we call episode 2 completed? Cheerleaders are successfully instated.
Yep, cheerleader is a third member of the group.
Thanks for listening, and see you guys next time.
See you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.